Hey and welcome to Let's Run Social with me, Nick Boddington. Good to see you again. I want to talk today for a few minutes about scaling. One of the biggest things in Facebook advertising is our clients not scaling when they should be, or misinterpreting what I mean by scaling, or getting so sucked up in the new thing that might be the next thing better than the last ad they were doing that they don't scale, and they dilute all their budget because they're spending all their time trying to find something that's better. So I want to go into that a bit. Now, when I say trying to find something that's better, that is what it is all about. We're always trying to split test the winning ad to try and find something that's better, whether we change an image, whether we change the copy, whatever we might do. So I get that, and that is exactly what you need to be doing. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to fall into the trap of never scaling because you've suddenly had another bright idea about a new audience or a new type of landing page. I want you to scale because that's how we make money using Facebook advertising. It's about finding the right thing, testing the right audiences, getting the ads right, and when you see the return on investment where it needs to be, this is when I want you to scale. So the thing that we see the most with our clients coming to us is the fact that we take on an account and we start testing different audiences and we start testing different copy and different images, and we have different rounds of doing that. So we always start off with an audience test round, then an image, and then a copy. Once we've found the winning formula of all those, we then take that and scale it. What generally happens though is that our client turns around and goes, oh, can we try this? Oh, actually, we're going for a weekly call, and they start bringing out different products that they want to try, or different audiences they think, or and it's great because the client's taking a lot of it back end for themselves. They're thinking about it, they're sleeping on it, they're always thinking about what they're wanting to do, which is fantastic. But what we're trying to educate our clients, and this is what I want to educate yourselves about, is that it's about finding something and scaling. So here's the recipe. You've got your product, so let's say you're an e-commerce site, just to keep it simple, and you're selling, you're selling a radio. Just looked at one. So you're selling a radio on an e-commerce site. You test some audiences to do with people who might be interested in radios, whether it's different makes, whether it's brands, whether it's websites, whether it's magazines that specialize in it, whatever it might be, music, sound, Radio 1, whatever it might be. You test those audiences. Now let's say you're spending only a tenner a day, 20 quid a day. A tenner a day, I'd usually test like 3 different audiences using CBO, which is campaign budget optimization. Once that's through, after a couple of days, once each of those audiences have hit about 1,500 records, 1,500 pieces of impressions, I would then see who's the winner. I'd look at the click-through rates, I'd look at the cost per click and the CPMs. We'd then take that, duplicate the ad, take it into another round of CBO and test different images and audiences. Now at the end of that, let's say we were trying to get a four ROAS, yeah? So 400% on our ad spend. I like to say 400% because it sounds so much better than 4 ROAS. So 400%. For every £10 you're putting in, you're getting £40 out. Now this is the time that you need to scale. What most people do, and I'm sure you're probably guilty of it as well, is that you then go, okay, we're getting 4 hours on that, and then you start looking for another ad. And then you get 3 or 4 or maybe 5 hours on that, and you start looking for another one. Always looking for the next thing because you feel like you always need to try and get something else out there. But what you're forgetting is that you might have an audience of 3.5 million people who are buying that radio and giving you 4 times your investment. Now's the time to scale it. Why wouldn't you put £100 in it every single day and make £400 back every single day? So another 400% return. Now, I'm not saying that scaling is that easy. It really, really isn't. There are some tricks you can do, which we'll go into in a second. But it is about scaling your business. You're wanting, unless you can't distribute, like we have a client who are getting 6 hours every day and it's fantastic for them. That's just a one-man band. He can't scale anymore. Okay, he's distributing himself. He hasn't got really interested in, but we're making him like £3,000 a month off his investment of like 700, 800 quid, and he's in a really, really good place. Okay, so after his costs and everything like that, he's making like a net £3,000 a month, which is fantastic for a small business who wants to earn. So we can't scale him because he couldn't distribute his product. But if you are able to distribute and you can just scale up Why would you not do that? I need you to not get so involved in finding the next ad that's going to be better. Start scaling that one. So your exercise would be that you scale the one you've got, and you go through the different ways you can scale, as well as starting to put some of your profit into the next ad. But all the time you'd be looking to scale these things. Now, how can you scale? There are various ways. One, you could set up a rule if you don't want to go in every day. So let's say you're spending £10 a day on that particular ad and you're getting 4 ROAS. You could say Facebook doesn't like you to increase its budget for more than 25%. So if you're spending £10 a day, the next day, 24 hours, you really don't want to go above £12.50. So it's only a slight increase. And the reason we do that is because we don't want to start resetting. We make too many changes, it resets Facebook's algorithm. And that's not something we want to do, because it's just going to reset it. It will say, well, yesterday you told me £10, now you're telling me 100, I'm going back to square one again. And Facebook's algorithm has found you that 4 times ROAS based on the £10, not on the new 100. Does that make sense? So you need to do it very slowly. So it'll be £12.50 one day, and then the next day you could do 25% of £12.50, and so on. So that's one way of doing it. You are able to set up rules in Facebook, just in your ads manager, in the just above where your ads are, there is a rules button. So you could set a rule to say, as long as these things happen, increase by 25% a day. That'd be one way of doing it. The next way, if you wanted to really push it up, you could duplicate your ad. So you could get the ad that's running, go into campaigns, duplicate the campaign, call it the same name, and then at the end of it, brackets, increased budget, and set this at £50 a day or £100 a day, whatever you want it to do. And this is kind of a fingers crossed moment where we think, we're going to up it to £100 a day from 10. Everything's going to stay the same. We know the audience is big enough to be able to scale to £100 a day. And what I mean by that is, if you've got £10 a day and your audience is only 100,000 people, Facebook's going to show impressions every day. So let's say on average you're getting £5 to £7 will get you 1,000 impressions. Well, that means for about for 10 quid, you're going to get about 1,300 impressions every day. If you did it on £100 a day, you're going to get a lot more impressions. It's going to be more like 10,000 impressions a day, 13,000 impressions a day. So you need to make sure your audience is big enough to be able to cope with £100 spend a day. If it is, let's say there's 3 million there, we duplicate the ad, we know the audience is there, and we're going to have fingers crossed in the hope that Facebook sees the same data in the algorithm and allows you to get the same return on your investment based on the higher end scale. Another way you could do it would be to create different lookalikes. So let's say you're trading for a while and you've created some lookalike audiences. So you could say, I want to create lookalikes of all my add to carts, and then you go into the lookalike percentages and go 1%, 2%, 3%, up to 10%. So you've then created 10 lookalike audiences based on your add to cart. You could do it 10 audiences based on the initiate checkout. You could do 10 audiences based on your purchase. Then every time you want to scale, rather than touching that one, you could just scale up by adding another lookalike in, putting the same budget on it. Now it is going to be slightly different to the exact ad, but based on Facebook's algorithm, we see a lot of success with the lookalikes, and it is one way that we'd like to scale and add different budgets to things. Okay, so I really hope that helps with your scaling exercises, and I hope that brought some interest to you and really helps with you doing your scaling, and makes you realize that it's not just about finding lots of different ads thereon and thereafter. It's about scaling the ones that work. If you want any more information about this, then give us a call at our office at letsrunsocial.com, and we can go from there. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.